Have you ever walked into a room and felt eyes lingering on you, even when you weren't trying to attract attention? Maybe people remember your name after a single meeting, or they gravitate toward you in conversations without even realizing why. You might have assumed it's because of the way you look, but the truth runs much deeper. Attraction isn't just about physical beauty. It's about presence, energy, and the way you make others feel without even trying. There's something undeniably powerful about a woman who carries herself with a quiet confidence. A woman who doesn't need to announce her worth because it's simply felt by those around her. You've seen this before, the kind of woman who enters a space and instantly changes the dynamic. She doesn't have to be the loudest person in the room. She doesn't chase attention. And yet, attention naturally finds her. Psychologists have long studied what makes certain people effortlessly magnetic, and it turns out that much of attraction operates on a subconscious level. One of the key factors is presence, the ability to be completely in the moment, engaged and unaffected by external validation. People are drawn to those who radiate self-assurance because in a world full of insecurity and self-doubt, confidence is rare, and what's rare is valuable. Think about the last time you met someone who had an almost unexplainable charm. It wasn't just their looks, was it? It was the way they made you feel, seen, understood, or maybe even slightly intimidated. That's because true attraction is an energy that extends far beyond physical appearance. It's about how you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you hold eye contact just long enough to make people feel something. It's in the slight tilt of your head when you listen, the way you pause before responding, the natural rhythm of your movements. These are the things people remember, often without realizing why. Social psychology tells us that human beings are wired to respond to nonverbal cues more than words. Your body language speaks before you do. The way you walk, your posture, the calmness in your expressions, it all communicates something powerful about how you see yourself. A woman who moves with certainty, who doesn't shrink herself to take up less space, who holds herself as if she knows she belongs wherever she is. She exudes something rare, and that rarity is compelling. But here's where most people misunderstand attraction. It isn't about being perfect. In fact, perfection is forgettable. The women who are truly mesmerizing aren't those who try to fit a mold. They're the ones who own exactly who they are. They don't apologize for their quirks. They don't second-guess their opinions to please others. They don't perform, they simply exist unapologetically, and that in itself makes them unforgettable. There's also a deep psychological principle at play here known as the mere exposure effect. The more someone is exposed to you in a way that feels natural and unforced, the more their brain starts to associate you with familiarity and comfort. But the opposite is also true. If you are too predictable, too easily available, or too eager to please, attraction fades. The most captivating women maintain an air of mystery, not by playing games, but by having a life so rich and full that they don't need to constantly prove their worth. This is why the most attractive women are often the hardest to label. They aren't just beautiful, or smart, or kind. They are all of those things and more, wrapped in a presence that feels effortless. They don't chase validation because they don't need to. And that lack of need is exactly what makes them so irresistible. So the next time you wonder why people gravitate toward you, why they can't quite put their finger on what makes you different, remember this. True attraction isn't about forcing people to notice you. It's about being so completely at peace with yourself that they can't help but pay attention. Have you ever had someone remember the smallest detail about you, even when you barely spoke to them? Or maybe you've noticed how people lean in when you talk, as if they're afraid to miss a single word. It's not a coincidence. It's not just luck. It's something far deeper, something that exists beyond physical beauty. When a woman is truly attractive, people pay attention to her without even realizing why. It's an unconscious response, a pull that operates beneath the surface of awareness, and once you understand why, you'll see the pattern everywhere. Psychologists call this the halo effect. A cognitive bias where we unconsciously assign positive traits to people we find appealing. But here's the part most people don't realize. The halo effect isn't just about physical looks. It extends to your presence, your energy, and the way you make people feel. If you exude confidence, kindness, or intelligence, people don't just see those individual qualities. They start to believe you must have all the desirable traits. You seem more trustworthy, more interesting, more capable. And because of that, people notice you, they remember you, they feel drawn to you in a way that doesn't always make sense to them. Think about the times when you've been in a conversation and someone hung on to your words a little longer than usual. Maybe they asked questions, eager to keep the dialogue going, even about something seemingly insignificant. Or maybe you've experienced moments where people seemed more nervous around you, stumbling over their words, fidgeting, laughing too much at things that weren't even jokes. That's because when someone finds you attractive in a deeper sense, their brain responds before their logic does. Their body gives it away. The prolonged eye contact, the subtle mirroring of your movements, the way they adjust their posture when you enter the room. And here's the real magic. This level of attraction isn't about looks alone. It's about presence. Some women enter a space and everything shifts. It's not because they demand attention, but because they carry themselves with an air of purpose. They aren't rushing to fill the silence or forcing themselves to be liked. Instead, they listen with intention. They hold eye contact just long enough to create a connection, and they express themselves without hesitation. This is what captivates people, not perfection, but a quiet self-assurance that leaves an impression long after they've gone. Have you ever met someone who made you feel like you were the only person in the room? Someone who had a way of speaking that made even the simplest conversation feel meaningful? That's because they knew how to be fully present. And presence is rare. Most people go through life distracted, scrolling their phones, waiting for their turn to speak, thinking about what to say next instead of truly listening. But when you meet someone who is truly there with you in that moment, you feel it, you remember it, and you want more of it. This is why people pay attention to you without realizing why. It's not just about what you say or how you look, it's about how you make them feel. When you engage with someone completely, when you make eye contact that holds just a beat longer than expected, when you speak with clarity and certainty, you create an experience. You make people feel seen, and that feeling is rare, which is why people are drawn to it. But there's something else. When a woman has this kind of presence, she also triggers something deep in human psychology. Intrigue. People can't quite put their finger on why they remember her, why they feel slightly nervous around her, why they replay her words long after the conversation ends. It's because she isn't predictable, she isn't trying to fit a mold, she isn't overly eager to please. And that unpredictability, that sense that there's more beneath the surface, makes people curious. And curiosity is one of the strongest forms of attraction. So if you've ever wondered why people seem to pay extra attention to you, why they remember you even when you don't think you've done anything special, this is why. You don't have to be loud to be noticed. You don't have to be perfect to be remembered. You just have to be present. You just have to exist in a way that feels whole, certain, and unshaken by the need for external approval. Because when you do that, people won't just see you, they'll feel you, and that is something they can't forget. Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to command attention effortlessly without even trying? It's not about flashy clothes, loud voices, or forced charm. It's something deeper, something that can't be faked or imitated. Truly attractive women have a certain presence, an unshakable energy that draws people in. And one of the most powerful yet often overlooked aspects of this attraction is the ability to maintain a sense of mystery. Not the kind of mystery that comes from playing games or withholding affection. That's manipulation, not magnetism. This is something different. It's an aura of depth, an unspoken signal that there's more to you than what meets the eye. It's the subtle confidence of knowing you don't need to explain yourself to be understood, that you don't need to overshare to connect, and that you don't need to be an open book for people to want to keep turning your pages. Psychologists have studied the power of mystery for years, and one thing is clear: when people feel like they can't quite figure you out, they become more interested. It's called the curiosity gap. The space between what someone knows about you and what they want to know. When you reveal everything about yourself too soon, there's no reason for people to stay intrigued. But when you hold just a little back, not in a calculated way, but simply because you don't feel the need to prove yourself, you become unforgettable. Think about the women who leave a lasting impression on you. They aren't the ones who spill their entire life story the moment you meet them. They are the ones who give just enough to spark your interest, just enough to make you want to know more. They speak with intention, they listen more than they talk, and when they do share something personal, it feels meaningful. They don't drown people in details, they create moments that linger. This is why mystery is so powerful. In a world where oversharing is the norm, where everyone posts their thoughts and emotions online for instant validation, a woman who carries herself with quiet confidence stands out. She isn't desperate for attention, so she doesn't seek it. She doesn't feel the need to constantly explain her choices, so she doesn't. And that effortless self-assurance makes people want to understand her. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean being distant or unapproachable. It doesn't mean shutting people out or pretending to be someone you're not. It simply means valuing your own depth enough to let people discover it gradually. It means knowing that your worth isn't dependent on how much of yourself you reveal up front. When you hold a little back, when you let conversations flow naturally instead of trying to fill every silence, you create space for real connection. Think about it like this. Attraction isn't just about what people see, it's about what they feel. And when someone feels like there's more to you than what they can grasp in a single moment, they become invested. Their mind lingers on you long after you've left the room. They start to wonder about you, to think about what makes you different, and in doing so, they deepen their attraction to you without even realizing it. This is also why highly attractive women aren't afraid of silence. They don't rush to fill the gaps in conversation because they know that presence speaks louder than words. They understand that a well-placed pause can be more powerful than a rushed response. They know that sometimes the most compelling thing you can do is simply be, without over-explaining, without overcompensating, without trying too hard to be understood. And here's the most fascinating part. When you embrace this kind of effortless mystery, you start to see a shift in the way people treat you. They listen more intently. They ask deeper questions. They respect your time and your presence in a way that feels different because you're not just another open book. They have to earn the right to read your story, and that makes all the difference. So if you've ever felt like people are drawn to you but can't quite explain why, this might be the reason. You don't have to reveal everything to be seen. You don't have to prove your worth through endless explanation. Just by being comfortable in your own presence, by allowing people to wonder about you instead of handing them all the answers, you create something powerful. And that power isn't just attractive, it's unforgettable. There's something undeniably magnetic about a woman who knows her worth. She doesn't need to say it. She doesn't need to prove it. It radiates from the way she moves, the way she speaks, the way she carries herself in a room. And the most powerful part? People feel it before they even fully realize what they're responding to. True attractiveness isn't just about looks. It's about an energy that says, I respect myself and I expect you to do the same. This kind of energy changes everything. It shifts the way people interact with you. It influences the way they treat you. Because when a woman has high standards, not just for relationships, but for how she allows herself to be spoken to, how she spends her time, how she invests in herself, she naturally commands respect. It's not arrogance, it's not entitlement, it's the quiet, unwavering confidence of knowing you are enough as you are and refusing to settle for less than what aligns with that truth. The psychology behind this is simple but powerful. People are wired to value what is scarce, what is selective, what isn't easily attainable. It's called perceived value, and it applies to everything, from luxury items to human relationships. When something is easily available, people don't question it, they take it for granted. But when something requires effort, when it demands a certain level of respect to be accessed, it instantly becomes more desirable. The same is true for people. A woman who respects herself creates an invisible standard, one that others instinctively rise to meet. And here's where it gets interesting. A woman who knows her worth never begs for love, attention, or validation. She doesn't chase. She doesn't force things. She understands that anything truly meant for her will recognize her value without her having to prove it, and because of that, she becomes incredibly attractive. People want to be in her presence because she carries an energy of certainty, of self-trust, of deep inner knowing that she is enough. Think about the last time you met someone who had this kind of presence. Maybe it was the way they held eye contact without hesitation, the way they walked into a room without needing to shrink themselves, the way they spoke with clarity and conviction, never rushing to fill the silence. That's the energy of someone who isn't looking for approval because they've already given it to themselves. That's what makes them stand out. And here's the crucial part. Self-worth isn't just something you say you have. It's something you show in the way you live. It's in the way you enforce your boundaries, the way you walk away from what doesn't serve you, the way you refuse to compromise your values for temporary validation. A truly attractive woman doesn't play games, but she also doesn't tolerate inconsistency. She doesn't need to manipulate to keep people interested because the right people recognize her value on their own. This is why people gravitate toward a woman who respects herself. She isn't desperate for attention because she doesn't need it. She is whole within herself. She isn't easily impressed because she knows what she brings to the table. She isn't afraid of being alone because she enjoys her own company. And that level of self-assurance is rare. It's something people notice, even if they can't quite explain why. But let's be clear, self-worth isn't about perfection. It's not about being emotionless or acting like you don't care. It's about knowing that your emotions, your desires, and your needs matter. It's about making decisions that align with your highest self, not your momentary insecurities. It's about understanding that you are the standard, and that the people who truly see you, the people who truly appreciate you, will naturally align with that energy. So if you've ever wondered why people seem to respect you without you demanding it, why they value your time, why they are drawn to you without you even trying, this is why. True attractiveness isn't about proving your worth. It's about embodying it. It's about knowing that you bring something valuable to the table and refusing to entertain anything that doesn't honor that. And when you live with that level of self-respect, the world responds to you differently. Not because you asked it to, but because you became the kind of woman who expects nothing less. There's something undeniably powerful about a woman who radiates positivity. It's not about being overly cheerful or pretending life is perfect. It's about the way she carries light within her, an energy that makes people feel good just by being around her. True attractiveness isn't just about how you look, it's about how you make others feel. And a woman who embodies a sense of warmth, optimism, and emotional intelligence naturally draws people in. Psychologically, humans are wired to seek out positive experiences. We are drawn to people who make us feel uplifted, who bring a sense of calm or joy into our lives. That's why a woman who chooses to focus on solutions instead of problems, who meets challenges with resilience instead of complaints, becomes so magnetic. She doesn't drain the energy of those around her, she elevates it. And that kind of presence is rare, in a world where negativity often dominates conversations. But this kind of positive energy isn't about forcing a smile or pretending to be happy all the time. It's deeper than that. It's about emotional strength. The ability to find beauty in the small things, to appreciate life despite its imperfections, and to navigate hardships without letting them define you. A woman who carries this energy doesn't ignore pain or struggle. She simply refuses to be consumed by it. She understands that life has ups and downs, but she makes a conscious choice to focus on what empowers her rather than what drains her. People can feel this energy the moment they meet her. It's in the way she speaks, choosing words that inspire instead of words that tear down. It's in the way she listens, not just waiting for her turn to talk, but truly absorbing what others have to say, making them feel seen and valued. It's in the way she responds to adversity, with grace, with patience, with an unshakable belief that things will work out. This kind of mindset isn't just attractive, it's transformative. It changes the way people experience you. And here's the truth. Positivity isn't about being naive or ignoring reality. It's about resilience. It's about choosing to see the good in people while still having the wisdom to walk away from what doesn't serve you. It's about being the kind of woman who, even in the face of difficulties, refuses to let bitterness take root. That strength, that ability to hold on to hope even when things aren't perfect, is what makes her stand out. Think about the last time you met someone whose energy was just different, someone who made you feel lighter, more hopeful, more alive. They weren't necessarily the loudest or the most extroverted, but something about them made you want to stay in their presence. That's the power of a woman who radiates positivity. She becomes a source of light in a world that can sometimes feel dark, and people, whether they realize it or not, crave that kind of presence. But here's what makes this even more powerful. When a woman carries this energy, she naturally attracts people who align with it. She doesn't entertain drama because it doesn't match her vibration. She doesn't waste time with negativity because she knows her peace is too valuable. And as a result, she builds relationships that are uplifting, supportive, and full of genuine connection. She doesn't have to chase people or prove her worth. They feel it in the way she moves through the world. This is why people are drawn to her. It's not about perfection. It's not about being happy all the time. It's about choosing to bring more light than darkness, more encouragement than doubt, more gratitude than complaints. It's about being the kind of woman who, no matter what she's been through, chooses to believe in something better. And that choice, that quiet, unwavering belief in the beauty of life, is what makes her unforgettable. There's something undeniably captivating about a woman who is effortlessly mysterious. Not in a way that is distant or cold, but in a way that leaves people wanting to know more. She doesn't lay all her cards on the table. She doesn't feel the need to over-explain herself. She moves through life with a quiet confidence, revealing just enough to intrigue but never enough to be completely figured out. And that is precisely what makes her unforgettable. Psychologically, humans are drawn to mystery. The unknown excites us. It keeps our minds engaged, wondering, questioning, seeking answers. This is why books with unexpected twists, movies with unresolved endings, and people with layers are so fascinating. The brain is wired to crave discovery, and when a woman embodies this quality, when she holds a certain level of intrigue, when she doesn't give everything away at once, she naturally becomes more attractive. But here's the key. Being mysterious isn't about playing games or being intentionally confusing. It's about having depth. It's about being so full of life, passion, and self-awareness that people can sense there is more to you than what meets the eye. It's about keeping certain aspects of yourself sacred, your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams, until someone has truly earned the right to know them. It's about understanding that your story is valuable and that not everyone is meant to have access to every part of it. And that's the difference between a woman who is simply reserved and a woman who is mysteriously captivating. She doesn't hold back out of fear. She holds back because she knows her worth. She doesn't overshare to seek validation. She shares selectively, intentionally, with those who have proven they respect the depth of who she is. And that creates an undeniable pull. Because when something isn't immediately given, it becomes more valuable. Think about the last time you met someone who didn't reveal everything right away, someone who spoke with intention, who had a presence that made you lean in, who left you wanting to know more. They didn't try to impress. They didn't desperately seek attention. They simply existed in a way that was compelling. That's what makes mystery so powerful. It keeps people engaged. It keeps them interested. It makes them feel like they have discovered something rare, something not easily found. And here's what makes a mysterious woman even more magnetic. She is comfortable with silence. She doesn't rush to fill empty spaces with words. She doesn't feel the need to explain herself endlessly or prove her point to those who won't understand. She allows pauses in conversations because she knows that presence is just as powerful as words. And that kind of self-assuredness is rare. This is why men and women alike find mysterious women so attractive. It's not because they are withholding or distant. It's because they are selective. They don't need to be understood by everyone. They don't crave constant validation. They carry themselves with an inner certainty that says, you may know parts of me, but you will never know all of me unless I choose to let you in. And that makes people want to earn their trust, their time, their attention. But let's be clear. Mystery isn't about creating distance. It's about creating intrigue. It's about allowing people to experience you in layers, to discover new aspects of you over time, to realize that there is always more beneath the surface. It's about moving through life with a quiet depth that doesn't demand to be seen, yet cannot be ignored. So if you've ever been told that you're hard to read, that people are drawn to you without quite knowing why, that there's something about you that lingers in their mind long after you've left the room, this is why. True attractiveness isn't just about what you reveal. It's also about what you choose to keep for yourself. And when a woman understands that her depth, her complexity, her ability to hold space for both presence and mystery is what makes her stand out, she becomes unforgettable. Confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can possess. It's not about arrogance or seeking attention. It's about knowing who you are, embracing it fully, and walking through the world with an undeniable sense of self-worth. A confident woman doesn't need external validation to feel beautiful or valuable. She carries herself with a quiet certainty that draws people in, not because she demands their attention, but because her presence naturally commands respect. Psychologically, confidence is one of the most attractive traits a person can have. It signals strength, independence, and emotional stability, all qualities that make people feel secure and intrigued. Confidence isn't just about how you speak or how you dress, it's about the energy you exude. It's in the way you enter a room, the way you hold eye contact, the way you speak without hesitation. It's in the way you own your choices, stand by your opinions, and refuse to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. That kind of presence is rare, and because it's rare, it's unforgettable. But here's the thing. Confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward despite your fears. A confident woman doesn't pretend she has all the answers, and she doesn't hide behind a facade of perfection. She acknowledges her flaws, her insecurities, her past mistakes, but she doesn't let them define her. She knows that her worth is not dependent on the approval of others. She stands tall not because she has never fallen, but because she has always risen. And that resilience, that ability to trust herself no matter what, is what makes her so captivating. People can feel when a woman is truly confident. It's in the way she sets boundaries without guilt. She doesn't allow people to mistreat her, and she doesn't settle for less than she deserves. She walks away from situations that drain her, not because she doesn't care, but because she values herself too much to stay where she isn't respected. That kind of self-respect is intoxicating. It shows the world that she is whole on her own, that she doesn't need anyone to complete her, and that any connection she chooses is because she wants it, not because she's afraid to be alone. Confidence is also about authenticity. A confident woman doesn't try to be someone she's not. She doesn't mold herself to fit an image of what others expect. She speaks her mind, laughs freely, and embraces her quirks. She knows that she is not for everyone, and she's perfectly okay with that. In fact, she thrives in that truth, because she understands that the right people, the ones who truly appreciate her, will be drawn to her without effort. And the ones who don't, they were never meant for her in the first place. And that's what makes confidence so attractive. It eliminates desperation. A woman who knows her worth never has to chase, beg, or prove herself. She doesn't engage in pointless drama. She doesn't compete for attention. She doesn't need to. Her energy alone is enough to make people take notice. She understands that her time, her love, and her presence are valuable, and she refuses to give them away freely to those who do not deserve them. That level of self-assurance creates a natural pull. It makes people want to be in her orbit, not because she asks them to, but because they feel the power of her presence. Think about the last time you encountered someone who radiated confidence. Not arrogance, not ego, but true, quiet confidence. There was something about them that made you want to be around them. They didn't seek attention, yet they had it. They didn't try to impress, yet they did. That's the power of a woman who knows her worth. She doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room because her energy speaks for her. And here's the truth. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. It's the result of showing up for yourself time and time again. It's built through every small victory, every time you choose to trust yourself, every moment you refuse to let doubt win. It's a choice, a daily commitment to believing in yourself no matter what. And when a woman masters that, she becomes unstoppable. She becomes unforgettable. She becomes the kind of woman people can't help but admire, respect, and remember. There is something undeniably captivating about a woman who radiates warmth and kindness. It's not just about being polite or well-mannered. It's about exuding a genuine energy that makes people feel safe, valued, and seen. A highly attractive woman possesses a presence that instantly puts others at ease. She listens with intention, speaks with sincerity, and treats people with a level of respect that feels rare in a world where so many are consumed by self-interest. Psychologically, warmth and kindness trigger an innate response in the human brain. Studies show that people are drawn to those who make them feel good. It's not about superficial charm or forced niceties. It's about authenticity. When a woman carries herself with a genuine, compassionate nature, she creates a space where others feel comfortable being themselves. That ability to make someone feel accepted without judgment is incredibly magnetic. It's the reason people find themselves opening up to her, trusting her, and wanting to be around her without even fully understanding why. But true kindness isn't about being overly agreeable or sacrificing oneself to please others. A truly kind woman understands the balance between giving and protecting her own energy. She is kind because she is strong, not because she seeks approval. She helps others without expecting anything in return, yet she is not naive. She recognizes when someone is taking advantage of her generosity, and she is not afraid to walk away. Her kindness is a reflection of her self-respect. It is not weakness, but a conscious choice to be a positive force in the world. And that is where the real power lies. A woman who is kind yet firm, warm yet unwavering, compassionate yet self-assured is irresistibly attractive. She doesn't just smile at people, she makes them feel something. She doesn't just listen, she truly hears what others are saying. She doesn't offer kindness for the sake of appearances. It is a part of who she is. And that authenticity, that deep-rooted goodness, is something that people remember long after she's gone. It's also important to understand that kindness extends beyond how she treats others. It's also about how she treats herself. A truly attractive woman knows that self-compassion is just as important as compassion for others. She does not tear herself down. She does not diminish her worth. She speaks to herself with the same love and encouragement she gives to those around her. She understands that she cannot pour from an empty cup, so she nurtures her mind, body, and soul with care. That level of self-respect radiates outward, making her presence even more inviting and magnetic. People often mistake kindness for being passive or overly accommodating, but a woman who embodies true warmth and generosity is anything but weak. She sets boundaries because she knows her worth. She extends love, but she does not tolerate disrespect. She forgives, but she does not allow herself to be mistreated. And that balance, the ability to be both kind and strong, is what makes her stand out. It's what makes people gravitate toward her, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. Think about the last time someone made you feel truly seen, truly valued. That moment likely stayed with you not because of grand gestures or extravagant words, but because of how they made you feel. That is the power of a woman who embodies warmth. She creates experiences, moments of genuine connection, interactions that leave a lasting imprint. People may forget what she said or did, but they will never forget how she made them feel. And here's the beautiful part. Kindness is something that never fades. Looks may change, trends may come and go, but a kind woman remains eternally attractive. She possesses a beauty that transcends time, one that is felt rather than seen. When she walks into a room, she doesn't need to demand attention. Her energy does the work for her. And that kind of presence, that kind of impact, it's unforgettable. It's rare. It's the kind of beauty that lingers in the hearts of those lucky enough to experience it. There is something undeniably powerful about a woman who is mysterious. She doesn't reveal everything about herself at once. She carries an air of intrigue, leaving people wanting to know more. She is not distant, but she also does not lay all her cards on the table. She understands the value of leaving certain things unsaid, allowing curiosity to do the work for her. A highly attractive woman knows that mystery is not about being secretive, it's about being selective with what she shares and with whom. Psychologically, mystery is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. The human brain is wired to be drawn to things that are not easily understood. When someone is unpredictable, when there is depth that has yet to be uncovered, it triggers curiosity, and curiosity is what keeps people engaged. A woman who is mysterious does not seek validation by oversharing or constantly explaining herself. She lets her actions speak louder than her words. She gives just enough to intrigue, but never so much that there is nothing left to discover. This doesn't mean she plays games or intentionally withholds important parts of herself. It means she values her own depth and doesn't feel the need to lay everything bare for the sake of attention. She understands that not everyone deserves access to her innermost thoughts, emotions, or experiences. She reveals herself in layers, allowing the right people to earn her trust over time. And in a world where instant gratification is the norm, that level of patience and self-restraint is rare. It makes her unforgettable. Think about the difference between a book that lays out every detail on the first page and one that slowly unfolds, revealing its depths with each chapter. Which one keeps you turning the pages? A mysterious woman creates the same effect. She knows that her presence alone is intriguing enough. She doesn't need to rush to be understood. She is comfortable with silence, with pauses, with allowing others to wonder. She is not desperate to prove anything because she already knows her worth. One of the most powerful aspects of mystery is unpredictability. A mysterious woman is not easily defined. She does not fit into a neat little box. One moment she is warm and engaging, the next she is introspective and reserved. She is full of contradictions, not because she is inconsistent, but because she is multidimensional. She is not the kind of woman you can figure out in one conversation, and that makes people want to know her even more. Mystery also comes from emotional control. A woman who is mysterious does not react impulsively to every situation. She does not let her emotions dictate her actions in a way that makes her easy to read. She remains composed even in moments of intensity. That kind of self-mastery is deeply attractive. It signals a level of emotional intelligence that makes her stand out. People respect her because they can sense that she is not easily swayed, that she is not desperate for approval, that she moves through life on her own terms. A mysterious woman is also deeply independent. She has a world of her own, passions, dreams, and experiences that are not dependent on anyone else. She does not need constant attention or validation because she is already fulfilled. And that independence adds to her allure. People are drawn to her not because she needs them, but because she chooses to let them in, and that choice, that selectivity makes her presence feel even more valuable. In relationships, mystery keeps the spark alive. When someone believes they have fully figured a person out, attraction can fade. But a woman who maintains an air of mystery keeps things exciting. She does not fall into predictable patterns. She brings an element of surprise, of excitement, of depth that is always waiting to be explored. She makes people feel alive because she herself is full of life, of possibility, of unknown layers waiting to be discovered. And here's the truth. Mystery is not about manipulation. It is not about withholding love or playing mind games. It is about knowing that you are an entire world in yourself and allowing people to explore that world piece by piece. It is about trusting that the right people will stay curious, that they will keep wanting to know more, and that your depth is what will keep them coming back. A highly attractive woman doesn't need to chase or convince anyone to stay. Her presence alone is enough to make them want to. Confidence is the final and perhaps the most powerful sign of an undeniably attractive woman. It is the foundation upon which everything else rests, the quiet, unshakable belief in oneself that radiates in every action, every word, and every movement. True confidence is not arrogance, nor is it loud or boastful. It does not seek validation, nor does it depend on others for approval. Instead, it is the steady, undeniable energy of someone who knows exactly who she is and refuses to apologize for it. Psychologically, confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a person can possess. When a woman walks into a room with certainty, people take notice, not necessarily because of how she looks, but because of how she feels. Confidence is an unspoken language. It is in the way she carries herself, the way she meets the gaze of those around her without hesitation, the way she speaks with clarity and purpose. She does not shrink to make others comfortable. She does not second-guess herself in an attempt to fit in. She stands firm in her truth, and that presence alone commands respect. A confident woman does not seek permission to exist fully. She does not wait for the world to validate her worth because she has already done that for herself. She is comfortable in her own skin, embracing both her strengths and her imperfections with equal grace. She does not need to prove herself to anyone because she understands that her value is not up for debate. This kind of self-assurance makes her irresistibly attractive. People are drawn to her not because she demands attention, but because she embodies something rare. Unwavering self-acceptance. Confidence is also deeply tied to resilience. A truly confident woman has faced rejection, failure, and criticism, yet she has not allowed those experiences to define her. She knows that setbacks are not reflections of her worth, but rather opportunities for growth. She does not dwell on mistakes or let the opinions of others dictate her path. Instead, she learns, she adapts, and she moves forward with even greater strength. This ability to rise above challenges without losing herself is what makes her truly captivating. But confidence is not just about external presence. It is also about internal peace. A woman who is genuinely confident does not feel the need to compete with or diminish others. She celebrates the success of those around her because she understands that their achievements do not take away from her own. She is secure in her uniqueness and does not fall into the trap of comparison. She does not seek to be the most beautiful, the most intelligent, or the most accomplished. She simply seeks to be the most authentic version of herself. And that authenticity is what sets her apart. Her confidence also extends to her choices. She does not settle for less than she deserves, in relationships, in friendships, or in life. She does not tolerate disrespect, nor does she compromise her standards out of fear of being alone. She understands that being alone is far better than being in the wrong company. She does not chase people who do not recognize her value, because she knows that the right people will see it without needing to be convinced. She does not beg for love, attention, or validation. She attracts it naturally by being completely at peace with who she is. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about a confident woman is that her presence inspires others. She does not just shine, she encourages those around her to shine as well. She leads by example, showing that confidence is not about perfection, but about self-trust. She empowers others to embrace their own strength, to believe in themselves, to walk through life with their heads held high. Her confidence is not a shield or a performance. It is a quiet, unwavering force that makes the world around her better. In the end, confidence is what makes beauty last. Looks may fade, trends may change, but a woman who walks through life with an unshakable sense of self will always be attractive. She will always be remembered, not just for how she looked, but for how she made people feel. She will leave an imprint not because she sought approval, but because she embodied something rare, complete and undeniable self-assurance. And that is the ultimate sign of an attractive woman. Not the way she dresses, not the way she speaks, but the way she carries herself in a world that often tries to make women doubt their worth. The way she stands tall despite the challenges, the way she owns her space without hesitation, the way she moves through life with quiet certainty. That kind of confidence is timeless, that kind of presence is unforgettable, and that, more than anything, is what makes her truly irresistible.